Hello, I'm Sarah. Throughout my 38 years of life, I've always tried to do what was right. I was a good girl, a good student, and I strived to be a good wife and a good mother. Our white fenced house in the suburbs of Chicago, 2 wonderful children, a husband climbing the career ladder, everything seemed perfect. Until that day when my life split into 2 separate paths. I met Michael at Northwestern University. He was one of the brilliant, ambitious students from the law school with his perfect hair, sharp intellect, and that confident smile that caught everyone's attention. I, on the other hand, was the hardworking, idealistic young woman from the business school. I can't say we fell in love at first sight, but over time we became dependent on each other. Nights spent in the library, hours-long conversations at the campus cafe, walks along Lake Michigan during the winter months. On graduation night, when he looked into my sky blue eyes and said, "I want to share my life with you, Sarah," I felt a pang in my heart. That pang was perhaps the excitement of touching true love for the first time. After getting married, we moved to Chicago. Michael started as an intern at a prestigious law firm and quickly made partner. I continued my career as a marketing manager at a large technology company. We had 2 wonderful children named Emma and Lucas. Emma, at 15, had inherited her father's intelligence and my determination, a popular girl in high school, but also a bookworm. Lucas, at 8, was an energetic, curious child devoted to his mother. Everything was going as planned. Our white-fenced house, barbecues in the garden, the children's school achievements, Michael climbing the career ladder. But life sometimes tests you at the most unexpected moments. As Michael's career advanced, the time he spent at home decreased. The responsibility of raising children increasingly fell on my shoulders. Waking up at 6 in the morning to prepare breakfast, getting the children to school, getting to work by 8, making dinner, helping with homework, getting them ready for bed. Everything had become a routine. Michael would usually come home after 10. He would eat and go straight to the bedroom. The passion between us had given way to habit over the years. Sometimes I would look in the mirror and realize I had passed 40. Where had that bright, energetic young girl gone? When I tried to talk to Michael, he would either talk about work stress or pretend to listen while distracted by his phone. "Everything's fine, Sarah. I'm just a little tired," he would say. Meanwhile, I struggled with loneliness, trying to hold back tears on the couch after the children fell asleep. David entered my life right at this point. He was the company's new creative director. In his mid-30s, a newcomer from New York, in our first meeting, he caught my attention with the creative criticism he brought to my presentation. Unlike other managers, he didn't just criticize, but also offered constructive suggestions. "This slide is too technical, Sarah. Our target audience won't understand it. We need to tell a more intimate story," he had said. That day, we worked together in the office for long hours and completely redesigned the project. Over time, we started working together and achieved great success in our projects. David was completely different from Michael. He was attentive, listening, and empathetic. One day, during a coffee break at the office, he noticed my fatigue. "Is everything okay, Sarah? You look very tired," he said. At that moment, hearing a question no one had asked me in years brought tears to my eyes. That day, we went for a drink after work. Our conversations gradually shifted to personal topics. At first, it was just a work relationship, then friendship, and then something else. David was divorced, had a career in New York, but had come to Chicago to start a new life. "Sometimes you need to turn a new page in your life, Sarah," he said one day, "when old habits start to suffocate you." Those words caused something to stir inside me. I thought about my relationship with Michael. We had been married for 16 years, but for the last 5, we had been living like two strangers. One evening, we were working late on an important project. Everyone had left the office, only the two of us remained. At that moment, under fatigue and stress, our eyes met for a brief moment. I can't fully explain what happened at that moment, but something changed. The following week, we went out for dinner for work. Our conversations became increasingly personal. I talked about Michael, about my children. He talked about his life, his past relationships. "Love sometimes finds you in the most unexpected places," he said, looking into my eyes. When I returned home that night, Michael was late again. I heated his dinner and went to bed. Alone in bed, David's words kept running through my mind. For the first time in years, I felt heard, understood, and valued. David's interest in me made Michael's absence more pronounced. But at the same time, I felt guilty. After all, I was married, I had 2 children. I knew these feelings were wrong. However, the heart doesn't do what logic says. Everything changed on our next business trip. We had gone to New York for our company. After the meetings, we decided to have dinner together. In an elegant restaurant in Manhattan, we talked over our glasses of wine. David was talking about the emptiness in his life. "Sometimes in life you want someone to truly understand you, Sarah. Not just listen, but truly hear." Those words stirred a storm within me. That night, while saying goodbye in the hotel lobby, David hugged me. I hadn't felt the warmth and closeness in that hug for years. At that moment, I wanted to leave everything and go. But at the same time, I pulled back. I didn't know what I was doing. When we returned to Chicago, the tension between us had increased. Every moment in the office, every eye contact, every touch was full of meaning. I don't know if people noticed, but we were struggling to control ourselves. One day, when we were alone at the back door of the office, David approached me and kissed me. That kiss was a turning point in my life. From that moment on, I had started 2 separate lives.
I can hear your voice.
During the day, I was Michael's wife, Emma and Lucas's mother, a successful marketing manager. At night, I was another woman. I was meeting David, being with him. Despite feeling immense guilt after each meeting, I couldn't wait for the next one. This dilemma was consuming me. Everything I hid from Michael, every conversation, every touch with him now felt like a lie. When I went home, the guilt I felt towards him was suffocating me. At the same time, in my relationship with David, I felt like I was reliving my youth, feeling young and vibrant. I was going back and forth between these 2 worlds. The worst part was the guilt I felt towards my children. I knew I needed to be honest with them, but I also knew that what I was doing would hurt them. I couldn't let this secret seep into their innocent world. One day, Emma looked at me and said, "Mom, you've been so different lately. You look brighter." At that moment, I thought my heart would stop. Had everyone noticed? Had Michael noticed too?
I can hear your voice.
One day, I was having coffee with Lisa. Lisa was my best friend and knew nothing about everything. She told me I looked very different lately. You're more vibrant, more energetic, but at the same time more tense. Is something going on, Sarah? She asked. I panicked. No, just work stress, I said, my voice trembling. Lisa looked at me suspiciously, but didn't insist. That day when I got home, Michael had prepared a surprise for me. He had left the children with my mother and prepared a special dinner for me. It was something he hadn't done in years. At that moment, I realized how much I loved him and how afraid I was of losing him. I burst into tears. Michael was surprised, not understanding what was happening, and I couldn't tell him. That night, Michael and I grew closer than we had been in years. But at the same time, I was thinking about David. I understood better then how difficult it was to be caught between two men. On one side, I had years of history, trust, and my family. On the other side, I had passion, understanding, and a relationship where I felt myself again. I couldn't sleep that night. I was thinking about everything. Should I tell Michael? Should I end my relationship with David? What should I do?
I can hear your voice.
A few weeks later, I started thinking about my relationship with David. I was questioning where this relationship could go. Did I want to end my marriage? Or was this just an affair? I talked to David and explained my feelings for him, but also my indecision. He was understanding and said he would give me time. But sometimes life makes decisions for you before you decide. One day, as we were leaving the cafe where I met David, we ran into Tom, Michael's work colleague. Tom saw us, looked surprised, and said hello. At that moment, I thought my heart would stop. Would Tom tell Michael? What would he say? From that night on, I lived in constant fear. I flinched every time the phone rang, every time the doorbell rang. A week later, when Michael came home, he seemed different. More quiet, more thoughtful. When we sat down for dinner, he asked me a question. I've been seeing you with David a lot lately. Is he a good work colleague? At that moment, my world collapsed. Tom had told him. My breath caught, my hand trembled. I didn't know what to say. Michael looked at me and smiled. I'm just wondering how your projects are going. I relaxed at that moment, but at the same time felt even worse. The weight of having to lie to him was crushing me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I was thinking about everything. Should I tell Michael? Should I end my relationship with David? What should I do? In the morning, I made a decision. I would meet David and explain everything. When I met David, I told him about my feelings for him, but also about what I felt for my marriage and my children. I told him that continuing this relationship would be harmful to everyone. David was understanding, but at the same time sad. He said he loved me too, but my happiness was more important. That day, I ended my relationship with David. But everything was over. I was no longer my old self. My feelings for Michael had changed too. I decided to be more honest with him. I told him that I had been feeling lonely and worthless lately, that I wanted to spend more time with him. Michael was surprised, but he listened at the same time. He said he had realized how his work had exhausted him lately, how he had neglected me and the children. After that day, everything slowly changed. Michael and I started to make more time for each other. We tried to spend time together, listen to each other, understand each other. My relationship with David was a mistake, but at the same time, it was a wake-up call. It had made me see the problems in my marriage. Now my life has returned to normal. David left the company, and I am rebuilding my relationship with Michael. I still think about David sometimes, wondering what he's doing, how he is, but that's in the past now. I'm telling this story because maybe you're in a situation like mine. Maybe you're at a turning point in your life. Making decisions is difficult, especially when your heart and logic pull you in different directions. But remember, every choice has a cost. Sometimes the hardest choices are the right ones. I am Sarah, and this is my story. What would your story be? I wonder what I would do if I were you. Perhaps it's time to ask yourself that question. Because life sometimes tests you at the most unexpected moments. And at that moment, choosing what to do is in your hands.